Kia ora, and welcome to day 17 of MonthDone and a month of mindful moments with tangling. Today I want to take a single line for our tangle, but we're going to work it today within a string. A string in Zentangle is not necessarily a literal string, but a pencil guide with which we can give ourselves a section or a space to fill that tangle in. But if we imagine this string, we'll come back to it later with the tangle I want to cover today, Echoism. From our day before, we finished our little morning glories with a line that headed off on the page. So just take that point and just somewhere along draw a little string line. It can be wiggly or straight as you go across your page. And also from that up just below where that line comes in, we're just going to take another one, and this one might loop down and back up again. Here we now have a section with which to do our tangling. So pick up your pens, and from that edge where the last morning glories came about, we're going to do a very gentle tangle inside this space. I mentioned that it just uses one line with loops. And it is a doodle that I used to do when I was at school, so I find it quite easy. However, if you're finding it just a little bit more difficult, you might just want to have a play with your pencil just somewhere else on the page to get started. The tangle echoism involves using a loop that goes back on itself. So I'm going to start my line, and then I'm going to draw a loop which goes back on itself. And then it's going to come down to the other string line, and when you hit that pencil string line, just do a loop that goes back on itself and crosses forward. Come to the other side, and as you hit that string line on the top, that gives you your clue to turn round and head back across. And this little echoism just works in this same way, just taking a loop up, turning back on itself when you hit that pencil string line, and then crossing over to complete your loop and go back down to the other string line. Use the string line as a guide to tell you where to turn around and go back to the other string line. And as you get bigger, as your string lines get further apart, so your echoism will get bigger too. If you go slightly over your string line, don't worry. Remember, it's just in there as in pencil as a bit of a guide to help you know where to finish and where to change direction with your pen. And as you're going across, as you've got used to doing that looping back, you might want to do something slightly differently with your echoism. And that is, as I come up, I'm just going to put them slightly closer together. And then I'm going to overlap them. So just once you've got used to the rhythm and flow of that echoism tangle, just try and do something a little different. And you can see I'm squashing my echoisms in by just overlapping the lines. I'm still following the same stroke. And once you've done enough overlapping, perhaps you'll go back to just doing the simple echoism and just get smaller and smaller as your strings dictate and head off the page. The other technique that I want to include in this tangle today is using aura. So just using the string line that we've got at the bottom here, I'm just going to aura from there up into the echoism shape and back down again. I'll find that I don't need to think about where my pen is going because I'm literally auraing the lines that already exist. Just watch your pen, enjoy the ink flowing out, and using that lovely aura line, a simple way of creating a pattern just adding focus by just concentrating on the line that already exists that you're following, and draw in your little auras that go across the bottom of your page. Where you can't fit it in, because this is where our overlapping comes about, instead I'm just going to aura the bottom half inside here. Use your pen lines that already exist to dictate where your aura lines go. Getting very small here. Oh, and now I'm getting bigger. With Echoism, you might also want to draw your auras inside your loops. So on the top half of Echoism, I'm actually going to draw an aura on the inside of the Echoism and then fill it with a little bit of drama. Perhaps you might also want to add a little bit of sparkle inside, or perhaps a little orb of a highlight of white. However, if you wish to just carefully fill each of your Echoism aura lines on the inside with full drama, do go right ahead. Again, using the line that already exists to tell you where you need to draw your aura lines. Slow down. Make sure those auras are just following the line that already exists, calmly and carefully across your pages or spread. Remember, if we're trying to deal with that middle part inside the fold of your journal, you can just draw either side of it. Don't worry if you haven't quite filled it in. It will still work as we go across our page. Using drama can be a lovely way of just highlighting or adding value or interest to a very lineal tangle. When we reach the overlapping auras, we'll find, the overlapping Echoism, we'll find that our aura shapes are no longer the droplet shapes, but could be something quite different. Enjoy just using your aura ring technique to find out what shapes you will produce. Take each shape as it comes and then move on to the next one. Perhaps if your spaces are very small, you might just choose to do a plain drama area, a plain fill without any sparkle inside. If you find that more mindful, by all means choose to do that. And I'm just going to add a little bit of shading. So I'm just going to take the Echoism drops that are on the bottom and just add a little bit of graphite to the top of them, or as I like to call them, the pointy ends of the drop shapes. Fill a little bit of graphite inside each one as you slowly make your way across the page. Or alternatively, if you like, you can do one little bit of graphite with your pencil, then pick up your tortillon and do a little bit of blending. Then go back to your pencil and switch around. If you prefer to just do all your graphite first and then come back and blend with your tortillon, you may find that's a smoother way for you. Use your tortillon and the pointy end of it to really push up into the point of your droplets in the echoism. Just a note to check, you'll notice sometimes it can be quite difficult to see on the screen that I'm holding my tortillon within the ball of my hand. That way I can get a real see where the point reaches inside my echoism droplets, instead of using it like I might hold a traditional pencil. With the tortillon, if you hold it traditionally, you do have a chance of pushing the end of the tortillon point in on itself, which is very easy to solve with a very simple unfolded paper clip with which you can push up the inside of the tortillon to push out your point. However, if you hold it flat like this, you'll find you have to do that less. And there we have our echoism. It's almost like a strange smile, mine. And today's prompt, day 17 of Vakutaki. This is like a meaningful saying or a prompt that you go by. In Zentangle, we like to talk about one stroke at a time. Or, as we use today, perhaps we used a string, and we took this one stroke at a time as we did our back loops on each other and produced the lovely tangle echoism. Whether your string was the simple going left and right to guide you with your space, or you actually used that one stroke at a time to produce your lovely tangle. Write today the prompt or a meaningful saying that you use perhaps in your Zentangle or perhaps in life. Add it here and I'll see you again tomorrow.